Hello everybody, welcome to the last Rambling Rat review of RWBY Volume 3. That's right, this is it! Episode 12, Beginning of the End. Guys and gals, I was so hyped for this episode that I crawled out of bed after hurting my back just so I could watch this episode when it aired, and it was so worth it. Okay, so without much further ado, let's begin. The episode starts with the fight that I've been waiting for since the beginning of this volume. Ozpin versus Cinder. That's right, this is a fight of demigods. Just look at them go. Nothing like this has been seen on RWBY before. And to be quite honest, I didn't know Rooster Teeth had it in them to do it. Like, the particle effects alone to animate and render must have taken them forever. Now, I heard this episode was down to the wire to get out there, and if this is just the start of the episode, I can see why it was down to the wire for them to get this out there. Wow, what a way to start the episode! And the music as well. God, the music makes this scene for me more than anything. Just listen to the very first few beats in relation to the fight. Those booms, timed with the puffs of smoke, make them almost indistinguishable from the bass drum, and that leading into this close-up shot where you hear Ozpin and Cinder's voices, and the voice of the choir start up as well in time with them fighting. Everything is in time. Well, except for maybe Ozpin. That's right, everybody! He might look like he's going fast, but no. That is an illusion. What we are actually seeing is his semblance at work. And it's not a speed semblance like Ruby or Oblak. No, ladies and gentlemen, I have seen this before. This proves to me without a shadow of a doubt that Ozpin's power is really time dilation. But Swarley, what is time dilation and where have you seen it before? Well, the quick and dirty definition of time dilation is basically the difference in time between two people during the same event. Now, how do I know this? Well, first of all, I'm a space nerd. I love anything to do with solar systems, red dwarfs, black holes, you name it. And as fate would have it, this is something that actually happens in outer space. The theory is that gravity affects time, so the closer you are to an object of high gravity, such as the Earth, time will move faster there. This has actually been observed with comparing the clocks on space shuttles and the International Space Station and ones on the Earth. The ones in outer space always moving slower than the ones on Earth. Now, I know there's a lot more to the time dilation theory and all that, but that is just my quick this is how I know this sort of perspective. Now, where have I personally seen it in action? Well, for those of you watching the Flash TV series, you might want to skip this part because it's a bit spoilery. It has more to do with the comic book series, but might be a spoiler for the show as well as the show continues. With that being said, I've seen this used by one of Flash's villains, Zoom. That's right. In the comic series, Zoom is not actually a speedster. He is actually using an ability that pulls himself slightly out of our time frame to make himself seem faster to us, but to himself, he is just running at a regular pace. Now, whether or not that's the route they'll take Zoom on the TV show is yet to be seen, but either way, back to RWBY. So Ozpin is either using this time dilation to slow down time around him or speed himself up by speeding his time frame up, which also leads to my theory of him having a longer life that I mentioned back in the Four Maidens world of Remnant. So the newly powered up Cinder also has a few tricks up her sleeve, as well as using ice on top of her usual fire attacks, activating it with this beautiful JoJo-esque pose, tying up the fight with a literal aura, chi, chakra, power-up blast, ending the fight in a way that I can only compare to something as big as Dragon Ball Z proportions. With that last attack, we white flash transition to the docks, where the evacuation is underway, organized by Oblak and Port. I knew that they were more than a match for some silly griffins, unlike some people I know.
And survive!
No! Don't leave me, Roman! RWBY meets up with Weiss and the others to behold what wrath Adam has bestowed onto Blake and Yang. Nora and Ren want to go back for Pyrrha and Jean, but they are too injured to, so RWBY says she'll go back to get them with Weiss's help. That's all normal, but oddly, through this exchange, Sun is the one being the voice of reason.
Look, guys. That giant Grim keeps circling the school. Even the White Fang are pulling out.
He is calm, collected, trying to get people to safety. Not exactly what I expected from him. I didn't expect him to run away or anything like that, but I did kind of expect him to go running into a fight all half-cocked, no plan. You can tell here that he's got the evacuees' well-being prioritized first. This is the part of him that shows you why he was chosen as the leader of Team Sun.
We'll be back.
You better be! Idiots.
Pyrrha and Jean escape safely from the vault, just in time to see Cinder fly up the elevator shaft just like Azula from Avatar The Last Airbender. At this point, we have to assume that Ozpin has lost, and is either incapacitated or dead. My theory on his fate, I'll get back to another day, but either way, he's lost. It is here that Pyrrha makes a choice while crushed by the weight of the world. With one final embrace, she magnetically pushes Jean into the rocket locker and sends him to safety so she can fight Cinder without having to worry about him. Really? You know, I was applauding the locker foreshadowing when RWBY rode one back in Chapter 10, but now, god damn it, I don't want this foreshadowing of him being bullied into a locker.
Pyrrha, please don't do this!
There will be no rest nor love for Pyrrha here, as she uses her powers to launch herself up the broken elevator shaft after Cinder. We cut back to Jean, who has landed safely, now pleading with Weiss and RWBY to save Pyrrha, as he is now too far away to do anything, in the end tossing his phone and breaking it. I gotta say, right here is the best voice acting I've heard for Jean, probably all volume. He's always sounded like a goofball, even when he's fighting or trying to be romantic, but here you can really hear the pain in his voice, and that last cry while throwing his scroll, man, just so good. Just a big round of applause to Miles on that. Just, God, not even just this volume, best the entire series. Oh, and for those of you asking why he broke his scroll, he could have still used it. It's not really a matter of what's the most logical thing for him to do at this point. For anyone who's ever gotten bad news over the phone or have to told somebody else bad news over the phone, you kind of understand that sometimes there isn't going to be anything stopping you from giving that phone a good pitch across the park.
You have to save Pyrrha.
We will. Are you okay?
The Grim Dragon appears, climbing up the tower to talk to Cinder? Okay, I understood that she could control them, but here she's actually talking to it, sympathizing with it, as if it was more than just a monster with a little bit of intelligence, almost as if it had, like, emotion. Listen to the difference in the dragon's cries after she talks to it as well.
This is your home now.
Wow. Cinder is basically Tarek Dannery from the Game of Thrones. Yes, butchering names yet again. But either way, this further proves Oobleck's theories that Grimm can be intelligent, almost emotional. On top of that, what he said before, that they have been waiting all along for this very moment.
Why are they still so close to the city? What are they doing?
Wait.
This touching Mama and Dragon scene is interrupted by Pyrrha making a dashing entrance to engage Cinder in combat. She really pulls out all the stops, using her weapons in semblance to their fullest, to the point of actually wiping that smug look off of Cinder's face and forcing the Grim Dragon to get involved. Now, quick notes here. God damn, those particle effects again. Like Pyrrha's fire blast shield block to the little things like the sparks coming off of Cinder's hand when she grabs Pyrrha's spear. Notice also no blood when Cinder grabs that spear, just sparks. Now, I don't think Cinder is invincible. It's obvious that blunt force hits from Pyrrha hurt her. So maybe this is some sort of earth element shield. Although fire is her favorite element, she has also demonstrated her use of ice as well. Something that I don't get into too often in my reviews, I really need to mention here. So good. The choreography, specifically in this scene here. Cinder blasting herself at Pyrrha all Azula style again, and then Pyrrha with the reversal that I can only guess by the shockwave she leaves on the wall. She used her semblance to assist her with this bloody wonderful reversal. Again, also, the music, the choir in the background's perfectly timed again. Lastly, I just want to mention how happy I am to see that in their rush for animating this episode, that in the background, the gears of Ozpin's office are still turning as these two fight. They weren't even overlooked at all. Okay, back to the story. The Grim Dragon charges the tower to help out Mama Cinder, knocking over the top portion of it. The fight continues under a beautiful starry sky background. Cinder brushing off everything thrown at her, even giant gears that used to adorn the ceiling of Ozpin's office. Cinder tosses even those back, one of them hitting Pyrrha, dead on, depleting what was left of her aura. Switch back quickly to Ruby and Weiss. Weiss stays behind to fight the Grimm, sending Ruby up the side of the tower using her glyphs. Yet another scene showing Weiss's character development and her trust of Ruby.
You can do this.
Pyrrha, in a last-ditch effort, tosses her shield at Cinder as Cinder fires an arrow at her as well. And of course, she doesn't play fair. It's a trick arrow that actually disintegrates around the shield, reforming on the other end and hitting Pyrrha in the foot? She got shot by an arrow in her Achilles heel. God, the crunching noises! When... Oh, no! Okay, no. She is supposed to be based off of Nike, the Greek goddess of victory. Pyrrha Nikos, that is her name. She's supposed to win. It's in her name. Even Pyrrha, the first part, victory at any cost. She's not actually based off of Achilles, is she? Shit! Holy crap! Ruby's too late! And seeing what she sees unlocks a power within her, surprising even Cinder as everything washes out to white. Oh, god damn! Okay. I was expecting Cinder to beat Pyrrha. Yes, sure, fine. Pyrrha might be seriously injured, but hold out long enough for Ruby to arrive and help her win. But not only did she get killed, but freaking cremated! Holy crap! Miles, Carrie, you guys really wrote that in a way I did not expect. Pyrrha has been built up in such a way that you were almost forced to assume that she would be around for volumes to come. From her being like Jean's teacher to Arcos finally becoming officially canon.
Sorry, I just want to make sure it's clearly defined.
Which actually only lasted for 5 minutes and 58 seconds of screen time according to Knight 68310. Thanks for doing the math on me on that one. Then the possible maiden transfer and the foreshadowing of Blake's book back in Volume 1 about the two minds and fighting over one body, it all pointed towards Pyrrha having more story than this. But nope! There is now no way she can come back from this. This isn't like Penny, who can be rebuilt, or Torchwick, whose, well, odds of living are getting slimmer every day. Actually, I think they actually confirmed he's dead in a podcast. But either way, sheesh, first Penny, then Roman, now Pyrrha? What have they got against redheads over there? You keep away from Nora. At least, if anything, out of this we get to see Cinder with a complete what the fuck face when Ruby goes pure Archangel on her. Maybe we can call it like the Angel Eyes attack or Silver Wings Blast. Yeah, they kind of look like wings. Whatever. But this was that moment where the yes that Cinder gave to Pyrrha was tossed out the window.
Do you believe in destiny?
Yes.
While we're on the subject of destiny, let's go back to Pyrrha's version of destiny. For Pyrrha, this, I think, was a destiny she chose for herself. Even if it leads to her death, she knows in her heart there will be no hero in the end that will rise above. But for better or worse, she has at least defended the kingdom and its people to the best of her ability. Also, going back to Cinder's response, a simple yes. Look at all the plotting and the scheming that's been done this volume. I don't think it was actually hers. It was her boss. Something that she must have thought was preordained and just followed it through. So the shock that she is experiencing here is more of how her fate that was prophesized to her by her leader, her deity almost, could be derailed in such a way like this. And yes, I know before I was always that guy that said that whoever had just recently died was actually alive. But really, guys, gals, I think Pyrrha's gone. Forever. Not to say that she's 100% gone from the show, but we will probably only get like flashbacks. Like maybe Jean will hear her whisper motivational lines in his head, but that's just gonna be memories. That's all. So the main reason I'm revisiting this line of thinking is because I've come to a realization. RWBY is now no longer your just classic hero, kick-ass, magical girl story. Ladies and gentlemen, we have hit Madoka territory. For those of you wondering why I mentioned Madoka, Madoka is an anime where everything starts out cute and cuddly, generic, magical girl goodness till reality hits. And now reality has hit RWBY, and Rooster Teeth has been warning us about this the whole time.
Unfortunately, the real world isn't the same as a fairy tale.
A lot of you have also noticed the lines of the opening theme, such as, and when it ends, the good will crawl, the shining light will sink in darkness, victory for hate incarnate, misery and pain for all when it falls. You probably noticed that I was sneaking in lines before, and that's kind of why. Look at the finale for the last two volumes as well. Volume 1, Penny has to get involved because Ruby and Blake couldn't actually do anything, and the majority of the White Fang actually get away. And then in Volume 2's finale, RWBY as a team fails. They outright fail. They fail to stop the armored train, and then needing help from other teams to clean up the mess. It's a false victory, because that merely puts everything in place for what's happening right now. Emerald and Mercury look like heroes cleaning up the Grim. Torchwick is put into position, jailed on Ironwood ship. And lastly, the White Fang and Ozpin take all the blame. None of these are victories, just they're merely scraping by, barely surviving. And I think that might be a continuing theme for a bit. Well, that's the end of part 1, everyone. I've decided to cut this off here because this is getting just too long for one video. The next video will finish off this chapter's reactions, and then I'll go into my final thoughts and a couple of theories for next season. So as usual, if you enjoyed what you watched, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, leave a comment below, and until next time, good night, everybody!